Well, if you guys give me the green light, I will go ahead and get rolling.
I'm good.
Okay,
Please
excellent.
do.
Well, thank you for everybody who is on here live and who will be watching recording later. We'll get that distributed to you. But for those of you who have never met me or have no idea who I am, my name is Ian Brown. I am the Senior Regional Sales Manager for the Western United States. So long, wordy title, but essentially what I do is I assist with the training and development of all of our BDMs in the West. So for us, the Western United States is Missouri down to Texas, all the way up California to the Pacific Northwest. Those 17 states consist of our Western United States. So I wear a lot of hats. I get to do a little bit of everything, which kind of keeps my job fun and exciting. So with that being said, the goal here today is I kind of have this broken up into a few different segments. First, I think it is super important to understand what our version of all-inclusive is, kind of give you an intro to the brand, but you'll hear me say this a couple times, not all all-inclusives are created equal. Yes, that is pretty cliche, but our version of all-inclusive is going to be a little bit different. So it's important that we know and understand that, know about our brand, what we're all about. We'll talk about what's new in that second segment. I think it's really important for you to see the new and exciting developments across Sandals and Beaches. Now is a very exciting time for me to be a part of the brand, and it's even a more exciting time for you to be selling the brand. And then we will close things up with a quick little segment just about the TA portal, some marketing techniques, and really just how to best market yourself. So with that being said, if we're good to go, we'll dive right in. And also feel free, I can't always see if somebody raises a hand or anything, but please feel free to anytime to come off the mic if you need to and ask a question. I want to make sure we answer all of our questions. The most important thing about today is that you leave here with something with applicable, knowledge, intelligence to where you can literally make a booking today or have a better opportunity at closing bookings today. That is my goal. So with that being said, you're going to hear me mention Made of Caribbean quite often. Made of Caribbean happens to be our current campaign. However, it is more than just our campaign. It really is a way of life for us. If you're not familiar with our brand, Sandals and Beaches, we are a truly authentic Caribbean company. Started in Jamaica. Chairman is 6th generation Jamaican, so we are truly authentic, a Caribbean Jamaican company. So when we talk about Made of Caribbean, it really is, it's more than just a campaign. It's a lifestyle for us. It's about being able to accurately articulate, the celebration of the culture, the vibrant soul, the traditions, the beauty of the Caribbean. And I truly believe that if you can better articulate what Made of Caribbean means and is all about, you are going to have an easier opportunity to close bookings. If clients understand what Made of Caribbean is about, if you can provide that feeling to them, they will have no choice but to book with you. So with that being said, before you can start selling our brand, you've got to know where we're located, right? So I mentioned Jamaica. That's really the heart and soul of our company, but we are all across the Caribbean. You mentioned already the Bahamas, that you've been there, you've sent clients there. So Jamaica, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, Antigua, Curacao, and our newest location, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we'll touch base on most of these islands. Obviously, you don't have 4 hours with us today to go over every single resort on every single island, but I think it's really important that you get a little bit of a sneak peek or just a taste of what we're all about. So with that being said, if you take no notes whatsoever today and you're just going to jot down one thing, I want it to be this. I do have a secret to success. Now, it may not be enlightening or totally mind-blowing, but if you ask anybody on my team, they will tell you what my motto is. And my motto is keep it simple. If you want to start selling more Sandals and Beaches, keep it simple. Quote us every single time. And the reason I say that is not just to say, hey, I want your business, I need your business, quote us. It's very specific. With 19 resorts on 9 islands, and Lord knows how many room categories, if you've booked us before, 19 resorts, 9 islands, hundreds and hundreds of room categories, there is going to be an island, a resort, or a room category that fits exactly what your clients are looking for. That is really important. We have more variety than ever before. 19 resorts, 9 islands, hundreds of room categories. Whether it's budget, that's the most important thing to them. That's their deal breaker. Maybe it's beach lover, pool lovers. Maybe they're looking for something very specific. We're going to have an island, resort, or room category that fits the needs of your clients. Take advantage of that. I always kind of like to, intermingle a couple of stories into my presentations, but I hosted an agency owner on island not that long ago, and we went through a presentation like this. She took this to heart, went home that weekend. She had somebody reach out that wanted to do a destination wedding in Cancun. She took my advice, quoted us every single time. That person never made one single mention of Turks and Caicos, and they loved it. They were sold. The whole entire family went to Turks and Caicos. It's that simple. Just quote us every single time to take advantage of what the brand has to offer. Wasn't mind-blowing or enlightening, was it? But it's keeping it simple. So our version of all-inclusive. I've already alluded to this a little bit, but I think this is really important. I told you not all inclusives are created equal, but what exactly do I mean by that? You are never going to send somebody to one of our resorts and they're going to get one of those little wristbands that, clashes with your vacation gear and, island outfits and all that. It's not going to say you have access to this side of the resort, but not that side. You can go to this restaurant, but not the restaurant that you really want to go to. That is not our version. That is not our brand. Once you arrive at a Sandals or Beaches, no matter what room category you've booked, no matter what level of service, no matter what village you've booked, you have access to all the bars, all the restaurants, all the amenities. That is such a huge level of added value. And then you start talking land sports, water sports, which we'll dive into a little bit of that later. But our version of all inclusive is different. Yes, did I hear a question? Maybe I didn't. No worries.
Sorry.
Once again, if you do have questions, do what?
I said, sorry, maybe that was something in my background.
No worries. And once again, if you do have questions, please do not be shy. This is always a little more fun if you have some interaction. It's a little different when you're on a webinar and not face-to-face. So I do encourage the interaction via webinar. But whether it's the food, whether it's the drink, the land sports, the water sports, our version of all-inclusive is going to be different for your clients. And just diving into some of those specifics there, the food. More and more clients now are telling us that they are picking and choosing their next vacation destination based off of possible culinary experiences. I don't know if you've had that yet, but clients are not interested in going to a resort where they can have a buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is not our version of all-inclusive. That may be someone's version, but that is not a Sandals and Beaches experience. It's the fine dining. It's the authentic Caribbean cuisine. It's being able to experience restaurants outside of the resort, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But whether it's the farm to table concept, all new restaurant concepts, we're opening new resorts all the time that have restaurants that you've never heard of or been to. It's always going to be a unique experience at a Sandals or Beaches. But then enjoying what the Caribbean actually has to offer, right? I always like to mention, if you deal with clients who are PADI certified or divers in general, the second you hear that, a little light bulb needs to go off and you need to go, okay, Sandals and Beaches is going to be the place for them. Any client that you have that is PADI certified is diving on resort for free. That is a huge level of added value to talk about with your clients. That gets them excited. Start speaking their PADI certified diver language to them. 30 different dive sites off of Negril, some of the most beautiful dive sites in Grenada, Water Sculpture Park. That's their language. This is going to speak to them. But also the land sports too. We know about the golf, we know about tennis, but pickleball. That is the fastest growing group segment across the entire brand. So if you're not selling pickleball groups, the bad news is you're behind the 8 ball. But the good news is everyone is still interested in pickleball groups, so it is not too late. I do actually encourage everyone, I'm going to pause and put my groups hat on for a second. I encourage everybody, whether it's pickleball, golf, dive, destination wedding, I challenge you to jot down a dozen or so potential group ideas, because I guarantee you that each one of you has some group ideas in your back pocket that you didn't realize are closer to fruition than you even imagined. Whether it's just something as simple as a friends group, keep it simple. Golf, pickleball. These folks are traveling to the Caribbean. They're taking their membership. I always like to joke, but not really joke. If you know somebody that likes to do something, you've got a potential group. All right. So do not overthink that process. Jot down 12 potential group ideas, find out maybe what is going to be the most feasible to start immediately, and develop your group business that way. Okay, so that was a very quick sneak peek of just our version of all inclusive. I'll take a quick pause right there. Does anyone have any questions? Does anything, sound a little bit different, or is that something they maybe didn't expect from a Sandals or Beaches? And it always gives me a chance to take a quick drink of water.
I'll just say, I loved recently, Nichelle and I visited the St. Lucia, La Toc.
Okay.
And I loved the restaurant there that was like authentic food. And you only have 2 of those, I think, open right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that was incredible. That was something very special, I thought. So going into that culinary. Also, when I just recently did a site inspection in the Bahamas, one of the staff, I was like, I have clients coming, can you recommend, some items off of your menu or what they need to try? And she was like, you need to tell them to try the coconut tarts. And they said they can order these 24 hours in advance. They're not on our menu,
Oh,
this kind of
wow.
thing. And my clients thought that was so incredible, that I had this inside information. And so I just think that, nowadays when it's a different market. People are, looking for different things. It's kind of nice that you can recommend this specialty thing that they can only get when they have your inside information, right?
Absolutely. And here we are.
So
The trainer has learned
coconut
something new
tarts.
today.
And Nichelle is incredible. She knows all the things to order for if you get a butler. So just
Oh, we'll talk some Butler coming up here.
yep.
All right, great. Well, we will dive into that second segment just about what's new so you can really start getting excited, but not just you getting excited, but excited about telling your clients about this. Okay. So we are going to start at Sandals Royal Bahamian. That makes perfect sense because this is the closest resort to the United States, right? I always kind of like to kind of position this resort as great for those long extended weekends, or maybe somebody tells you they only have 3 or 4 days to get away. They want to do something. They want to experience that Sandals all-inclusive experience. This might be an incredible destination for them. It's not just because there's a lot of unique room categories here. I've talked about the hundreds and hundreds of room categories, right? Lots of different options for your clients. But 404 rooms, a lot of different types of suites, all new swim up suites. But something that's really, really important and exciting to talk about here, because I think there's an excellent groups dynamic here. Because one of the new features of this resort is the Coconut Grove. This is really kind of the center of the resort, the heartbeat of the resort, if you will. During the day, a lot of activity is kind of funneling around this area, whether it's the entertainment, sports, live music, lots of games. They got their areas to play in the sand right here, sand volleyball, and of course, a really lively, active bar right next to one of the fun pools. So another thing that I like to talk about here is, once again, just all the different variety. We've got those rooms that I mentioned that are on the beach, the swim ups, different things like that. But also, a lot of people don't realize we have an island village in the back of the resort that features these suites. They're private. They have your own private pool. You have your own private tranquility garden. It's a great spot to roll out that yoga mat in the morning and just have a nice, exclusive, private, relaxing experience. So great for that group dynamic. But something that we mentioned earlier, this is only one of 2 resorts that offers the private island. So this is great for not only groups, but if you want to have that arrival or departure cocktail out there, or maybe you just got a couple that wants to experience something really exclusive out there, like maybe a private Red Lane spa experience. This is going to be that perfect resort for those types of people. But then we head over to Jamaica, and I always love talking about Jamaica because there's so much variety on this island. Not just because we started here and a bulk of our resorts are in Jamaica, but there's something for everybody. This island offers a little bit of something, that authentic native Caribbean experience for everybody. So I like to start talking about South Coast because really when someone mentions, they really want that native Caribbean experience, I like to mention South Coast because it's really all about that water experience, whether it's the over the water bungalows, over the water chapel, over the water bar Latitudes, which I do have a very quick story for you, but the restaurants as well being positioned right there on the water. Every single one of our main buildings has an ocean view. Actually, the only rooms that do not have an ocean view are this exclusive Rondaval Village that you see in the upper left. But one story I always like to share here, because I think this is, as travel advisors and travel professionals, we have to do more than just explain to our clients. We have to be able to articulate an experience so they can visualize, hear what we're hearing, smell what we're smelling, have those tastes, and really know this is what Native Caribbean is all about. So this was actually probably 2 years ago at this point. I was sitting at Latitudes over the water bar. I kind of have a routine at Sandals South Coast. I know sushi opens at 6 o'clock, so I go to the Latitudes over the water bar right before that. Sometimes, depending on the time of the year, you can catch a beautiful sunset right around then. But I go to Latitudes over the water bar. I order my favorite drink. I'm sitting on one of the hammocks over the water, and I'm just experiencing. I've got my eyes shut. I can hear the water. I can smell the salt. Then I open my eyes. I can see those just beautiful Caribbean sunset hues. And I thought to myself, if somebody can accurately articulate this experience that I'm having right now, a client has no choice but to book with you. They will say, I have to have that same experience. I'm having a FOMO moment, and they will have no choice but to book with you. So for me, that experience is at South Coast. For you, maybe it's Sandals Dunn's River or Sandals Royal Bahamian. You've mentioned St. Lucia a couple of times. Find where your experiences are at, and that is how you are going to be able to truly connect with your clientele. But at Sandals South Coast, a lot of new things have taken place here, especially because this is one of the resorts that has had that delayed opening because of Hurricane Melissa. But we actually had a full room renovation here at the Long Beach Village. That's the newest of the 3 villages. So when this resort reopens in November, be excited. Keep your eye on this one. Get your clients excited about it. There's going to be a lot of new, exciting things to look forward here. Now, Negril. When we talk about Negril, it really is all about the beach. 7 Mile Beach is such an important part of the Caribbean. And of course, Sandals Negril and Beaches Negril happen to be positioned on some of the most incredible stretches of 7 Mile Beach. So whether it's 7 out of the 9 restaurants that utilize that incredible ocean view, or the rooms, the suites, the sky pools that have the incredible views of the sunset, this resort is all about capturing that Negril sunset and 7 Mile Beach experience. But earlier, Nichelle, I heard you were the expert in Butler. So let's talk about Butler for just a second here.
Okay.
I want everybody to not just understand what a butler is, because it's not just delivering pizza and beer to the pool. And Nichelle, you probably know this more than most because of your experience. If you can tell a client, this is what you will experience, an opportunity to create a once in a lifetime, never to be duplicated experience with Butler, that's how you're going to be able to upsell, because this is really where we're going to talk about upselling to a butler. So I always like to highlight these suites right here. This is the new 1-bedroom sky pool Butler suite with rooftop terrace. When you're talking to your clients, let them know this is going to be their opportunity to sit down together, or maybe that this is one of their milestone anniversaries. Let's say it's their 20th wedding anniversary. You pull the husband aside, or maybe you keep them separate, keep them together so he has no choice but to accept your offer here. So let them know that this is an incredible anniversary. You don't want to pass this up. Say, if you book a butler here, I want you to imagine this. Telling your butler you're going to be back from dinner around 9:30, 10 o'clock, because remember, you have that butler cell phone, you call them. Say, hey, we're going to be back around 10 o'clock. I want to do something incredible for my wife. I want to have rose petals sprinkled up that spiral staircase leading to the rooftop terrace. I want to have a little tiny candlelight dinner table set up there, maybe a bucket of ice with champagne ready to go. Or maybe you want rose petals sprinkled all the way to the ensuite. You want the tub, the jacuzzi filled. You want that bucket of champagne on ice right there next to that. That is a butler experience. That is a one-of-a-kind 20th anniversary milestone event that will not be duplicated. Let your clients know this is their opportunity to be creative. Be creative with your butler. I tell people all the time, because, Nichelle, you probably know this. One of the objections that you might have often is, oh, I don't need a butler. We don't need all that. That's not what it's about. It's about creating one-of-a-kind experiences that others haven't done, or that you're not going to be able to duplicate. Does that sound familiar, Nichelle?
Yes. And I also don't upsell butler suites. I start at butler suites.
There you go.
And I don't even give them a non-butler option until they're like, I really want to do it. It's just not in the budget. And then we might go down to club level. But I'd say probably about 90 to 95% of my sales are actually butler rooms.
There you go. I need to start adding that into my secret to success in the very beginning.
Because it's way easier to say, hey, this is like, because we also always stay butler. We did club level once with points, and then my husband was like, never again. So we just pay out of pocket to stay at butler.
People often say, once you go butler, you never go back. So I've heard that many times.
Yeah, and it's a different experience than like every other resort that says they have butlers. It's not the same thing. But yeah, I explain to them what it's like. I explain to them, and this is actually like the NV room categories is probably like my lead in, introduce people to Sandals, have them rebook on site because they get 12% off their next butler room. But once I share with them about butler stuff and Sandals, most of the time they're booking the Sandals butler room, even if they're looking at different options.
I'm gonna have to start bringing you on the road with me, Nichelle. You're gonna be my hype man to back up everything I say. So perfect lead in to Sandals Ochi here, because it's so funny you say that. I have heard many advisors tell me they use this resort as, they call it, the gateway drug to Sandals and Beaches, especially with that NV1 category that you mentioned. This is an incredible opportunity to get somebody hooked on that Butler experience. Exactly like you said, that textbook example, rebook at Loyalty and Travel, get that 12% off, and now they're going to be your clients for life, number one. Number two, they're going to continue to book that Butler Suite category for you. So at Sandals Ochi, this is a unique resort, and I always like to mention this because if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's literally a street that runs right through the middle of this resort, divides it in half. You take a hop to get from one side to the other. That's our shuttle system. So I'm going to focus on the hillside of this resort because that's where we have all of our Butler suites. I want you to imagine a hillside with 200 individual units. Each one of those villas has either 2 or 4 individual units inside. That means if you've got 2 couples or 4 couples that you want to guarantee travel together, they are going to have their own individual suite. That becomes a private suite at that point. Now that semi-private pool becomes a private pool because you have 2 couples or 4 couples sharing that room category. Can be booked as one room category. You guarantee that those couples are traveling together. This is such a fun groups dynamic resort, whether you have 1 villa or a dozen villas. I encourage you to think big. Once you start adding more and more group space to this resort, all of a sudden, if you've been to this resort, you know what I mean. You have your own Jamaican neighborhood up here. You have your own private pools, your backyard. You can have your events up here, maybe your arrival or departure cocktail. You have your DJ up there. You have hors d'oeuvres being served up there. This is truly a unique groups experience. So when you start diving into those groups and looking into some of those opportunities I was talking about earlier to jot down 12 groups, start thinking about Ochi and really how that fits into your group's portfolio, because these NG1s, the NV1s, and NV4s are great opportunities for those couples and groups to travel together. And if you've been to Ochi, you know this resort is all about that upbeat entertainment lifestyle. There's things to do in the evening, late into the night, whether it's going to the Speakeasy Rabbit Hole where you need a password to get in. If you don't know the password, they'll make you do a little dance, but we want you to be able to get into the rabbit hole. Or then going to the Ochi, the beach bar, the beach club that stays open until 2 a.m. There's so many different things to do, from the live entertainment to the playmakers on the Ochi Beach Club. This resort always has something exciting to do. So actually right down the road from Sandals Ochi is Sandals Dunn's River. And Sandals Dunn's River really embodies that Sandals 2.0 aspect that we talk about a lot. Our newest resort in Jamaica here, so of course, you know, it's going to have an incredible stretch of beach. It's got great pools, new room categories, the swim-up suites, Sky Pool Terrace suites. This resort has a lot to offer, but I want to talk about something unique specific to this resort that started. So I've mentioned earlier the Rondeval rooms. I showed you those at Sandals South Coast. So what we've done in true Sandals 2.0 fashion is we've chopped the roof off and exposed a rooftop terrace. But we've taken it a step further. We've actually dubbed these the Stargazer Suites, because what we do is we provide you with your own personal stargazing concierge. That's just your fancy word for butler. So once again, Nichelle, you're not upselling, you're starting with this category. You are starting with this, telling clients you're going to have the opportunity to not only have a butler, but create one-of-a-kind experiences, whether it's at the rooftop terrace or having your private candlelight dinner served by your butler, or just waking up in the morning enjoying your own private Crystal Lagoon terrace here. So many unique features to offer at the Rondeval 2.0s. But also, just to put that groups hat back on for a second, we have a new dynamic here at Sandals Dunn's River. The all-new conference space that features over 8,000 square foot of space. So this is incredible for whether it's meeting incentive groups or just your social groups. This resort now has that additional dynamic that it did not offer before. So when you are speaking to those meeting planners or the social group lead, make sure you let them know they've got an opportunity for all of this indoor space. Maybe they want to have a gala event. Maybe they want to have their arrival and departure cocktail event here. Or maybe they've got a guest speaker that wants to come and address the group. They have an excellent space to utilize, whether you use one of the individual units or the entire 8,000 square feet. This is something that the resorts did not offer before. But I always like to end Sandals Dunn's River with just a really quick story, because once again, I think it's important to connect to the clients on those levels. But the first time I was ever at this resort, it was actually a little bit of a fact-finding mission. I had an advisor who had a group, one of that first groups coming up to Sandals Dunn's River. So she asked us for a little bit of feedback. So throughout the day, I'm telling her the pool's great, bars are great, a lot of fun, everything's beautiful, my room's incredible. But towards the evening, around 10 o'clock, I'm in the Sandals Dunn's River Rum Club, first rum club of its kind. About 10 o'clock, they dim the lights, music comes on, steel drum player comes out, DJ's playing music, we start serving rum flights, so naturally, taking flights of rum in the rum club, and the total vibe, it was truly made of Caribbean that night at Sandals Dunn's River in the Rum Club. So I think if you can articulate that made of Caribbean experience, you are going to have that authentic Caribbean experience on resort. That's how you are going to sell Sandals and Beaches. So then we head over to our newest resort, Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And once again, all about that Sandals 2.0 lifestyle. And once again, a unique feature. I think it's important the clients know the unique features here. Every single one of your Butler clients is going to arrive to resort in their own Butler boat transfer. Now, what's cooler than just arriving in your own Butler boat transfer, but how about pulling up into a dock to your own 2-story over-the-water bungalow? If you're familiar with the over-the-water bungalows or villas, you know this is the 2.0 version of that. More indoor and outdoor square footage, more unobstructed ocean views. Someone actually recently told me this is the most Instagrammable suite in the entire portfolio. So Instagrammable, maybe if that Gen Z clientele is your target audience, maybe let them know this is the most Instagrammable suite that you're going to be able to find. But there's only 5 of these on resort, so this is the most exclusive room category that we have to date. But it's not just the over-the-water villas, it's many more unique room types and room features. One of the ones I like to mention happens to be able to be booked in 2 different categories. One of those categories is with a media suite, and the other is with a fitness suite. And what I love about that fitness suite is that more and more clients are telling us that they're looking for, they don't want to miss a beat of their fitness routine. They want to stay active. It's no longer about just going to the resort, vegging out for 7 days, eating and drinking all you can eat. They want to be able to experience the authentic culture, but still have that, upbeat, active lifestyle. So that fitness suite actually comes with a stationary bike, a set of free weights, and my favorite feature is a 75-inch smart TV that you can log into, watch your favorite YouTube fitness routine. You do not miss a beat of your fitness and exercise routine while you're on this resort. We also do feature the new Ronneval 2.0s with the exposed rooftop terrace. So unfortunately, no stargazing concierge here. That was specific to only Sandals Dunn's River. But also incredible dining options as well. I can't remember. Someone had mentioned Boucan at the Regency La Toc. This is the only other resort, Sandals St. Vincent, that offers that restaurant. And what's unique about Boucan is there's only 2 of them, but it's a totally different style. It's actually a group style. It's one long table. Everybody goes at that same time, and you are served the most authentic cuisine from that specific island. So each menu is going to be different. Whether you've had it in St. Lucia, it's going to be a different experience to the one in St. Vincent. So it's always going to be that unique experience, never to be duplicated. But Royal Curacao, I like to talk about a couple of the unique features here because this is really going to get clients excited who want to get off the beaten path and maybe experience that authentic Curacao culture, whether it's maybe during the day or nighttime shopping. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But the resort itself, lots of unique features, whether it's the Curacao Island bungalows, the 2-story over-the-water infinity pool, the Dos Agua infinity pool, or our unique suites. But I like to talk about the programs here. The first of those is the Island exclusive. It's a $250 dine out program. So for our top tier Butler guests, they're going to be given a $250 dine out credit. And actually, I don't know if you follow the Sandals and Beaches Loves Travel Agents Facebook page. I have a love-hate relationship with that Facebook page, but somebody made a really cool post in there yesterday specifically about this program, breaking it down, talking about how all of it works, their experiences. They had actually done it 4 times. But what it is, we give you $250, we provide all the transportation, and we take you to one of 8 restaurants that we've been to, we've vetted, we know it's going to be a great experience, and you just get to experience that culture. Here in Curacao, in Willemstad, you get to have the cuisine, you get to walk around, and then we pick you up, handle all the transfers. We also do something for our top tier Butler clientele for our Mini Coopers. We don't just say, hey, we're going to do a Mini Cooper excursion, follow in line, and follow the convoy. Nope. We give you the keys, we plug in the coordinates to Willemstad, and we say, go. Experience Curacao. drive around. And if you're thinking, whoa, I've drove in Jamaica or I've been to Jamaica, that scares, that terrifies me. Let me just tell you, it is a very different experience in Curacao. I would feel very comfortable grabbing the keys, hopping in the car, and driving in Curacao. It's a much more laid-back experience. It is not going to be what you're thinking if you've been to Jamaica before. So I just always like to give that little bit of a disclaimer on there. So Ian, I'll pause again. I want to, yes, Michelle.
I think Erica's trying to get in.
Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anybody pending in the, so if that does change, let me know and I will switch back over to get them in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we've talked sandals. You get a little bit of sneak peek of our version of all inclusive. So if we know sandals is for adults, couples only, then of course we have beaches is for the entire family. All right. So we're going to talk about just a couple of things here at beaches, but I always like to talk about 7 Mile Beach again, because once again, every single year, just like our beach in Turks and Caicos at Grace Bay, these are a couple of the most incredible beaches in the entire, not just Caribbean, but the entire world. And what we've done here at Sandals Negril is we've really given you the opportunity to expand on that, whether it's multi-generational or family experience, okay? So what we've done is we've added the Fire Sky Reserve Villas and the Eventide Penthouse Collection. Now, what this does, that gives you an opportunity to book this many different ways, but depending on the configuration that's booked, these categories sleep anywhere between 10 to 18 guests. So one of the things that we're hearing more and more, and maybe you've had this experience, but maybe grandma and grandpa come to you and they say, hey, we want to book a vacation for the entire family. We want to do, one big family reunion and we want to take care of everything. However, one problem that they continue to run into is that they can't find connecting rooms, or they want to make sure everybody's at least in the same hallway or the same building. If you can't guarantee that for them, are they even vacationing together? Is that even a family vacation at that point? We have eliminated all that with the Eventide Penthouse Collection and the Fire Sky Reserve Villas. I want to give you a sneak peek on inside of what those rooms look like, but this is once again an opportunity to paint a picture, articulate an experience to the clients. Grandma and grandpa, imagine waking up every morning, coming down the stairs, being served coffee in the breakfast nook by your butler, the pitter patter of the grandkids all coming downstairs to meet you, breakfast, everybody getting ready together in that incredible living room, taking just a few steps outside onto your beach or enjoying the private pool there. You are steps away from the most beautiful stretch of 7 Mile Beach. This is a family experience. And if you can articulate that to whether it's grandma and grandpa or the leader of the group, that family, they're going to say, that's a family experience. I don't have to worry about the connecting rooms or the adjoining rooms, adjoining buildings, none of that. You have eliminated all of those concerns and worries by simply booking them into the Eventide Penthouse Reserve or the Fire Sky Reserve Villas. And I was just able to add Erica on there,
awesome,
so she should be good to go.
Cool.
So with that being said, then we're going to move over to Beaches Turks and Caicos. If you've been here, you know. The most beautiful water imaginable. And what we've done is we've taken that experience and expanded on it. With the all-new Treasure Beach Village, 101 new suites. This is really the top of the line. This is the most exclusive. This is the most, this is going to be the highest commission earning opportunities at Beaches Turks and Caicos. But I'm not sure. Can you let me know, can you hear the video or just see it?
Just see it at this point.
Okay, well, this is just a quick little sneak peek of what Treasure Beach has to offer. Of course, it's on one of the most incredible stretches of beach, but everything on this, with this new building here, Treasure Beach, is Sandals or Beaches 2.0. As you can see, new suites, new dining options, new amenities. If you didn't know, this resort features our first ever cinema. So I had an opportunity to experience that a little bit. Families, preteens, they're loving that experience at Beaches Turks and Caicos. So, of course, this village is open. It opened in March. I had an opportunity to get out there and do a sneak peek of it. Opened in March. It is ready and available for your clients right now. Get them excited about Treasure Beach. All right. So once again, quick pause. I just want everybody to sit here for a second. I don't need you to write anything down, or you don't need to share with the group per se. But I want you to start thinking about some of your goals. I don't want you to just write down, I want to make 5 bookings or I want to get to the next level. It needs to be a little more specific than that. I'm not going to be cliche and tell you to write down like a SMART goal or anything like that, but I want to give you a little bit of an example. I like to always go back to my pickleball talk before. So everybody wants to do groups, right? But how do you get started? So say my goal is I'm going to do a pickleball group. Great. You've got to expand on that if you want to see this come to fruition. Okay, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to identify 10 pickleball clubs in my area. I'm going to find out who owns, operates, manages, who's the pro at those places. I'm going to take a step further and just not just set a meeting with them, but I'm going to come prepared. I'm going to put together a sample itinerary. If you've been on a FAM or a Back to the Beach before, you can do this. You know you're going to start with an arrival cocktail. You're probably going to have some activities during the day. You can add in some free play. You can add in a tournament if you want, specifically to pickleball. You're going to make sure you put together a sample flyer also. Do your due diligence. Look on the TA portal. Figure out a potential month you want to go. Look at some potential room categories. Maybe, like Michelle said, you're going to start with butler, 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 and then maybe you'll expand if they ask for something else. Be strategic with how you present this to whether it's the pickleball pro, golf pro, dive shop owner. That concept translates across all group concepts. So be specific, be strategic, and just make sure you have a plan in place. Any questions before we do these last couple of slides just about some advisor and agency programs?
No, because I'll run over all the things probably.
Okay. Excellent. All righty. So I promise, hang in there with me. We are wrapping up.
You're good.
Okay, so the TA portal. I know everyone's got access to it, but it's so important not to understate the value of the TA portal. There is so many powerful tools on here, whether it's just seeing, you as agency owners, seeing all of your managing advisors, seeing how things are progressing, or as an individual advisor, having access to all of this. A couple of these that I like to highlight are simply the resort fact sheets, for example. Give you another example. A lot of times people will reach out with something very specific. They'll say, hey, Ian, what's the square footage of one of those new suites at Treasure Beach? Guess what? I have no idea. I'm never going to know that. However, I know some folks on resort, like the sales manager at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, specifically at Treasure Beach, who can give you that exact information. So I encourage everybody to utilize the resort fact sheets, especially for those very specific island or resort specific questions. They're going to be your best source of information. Also, anytime you're sending somebody to the resort, maybe you've got a VIP client or somebody celebrating a milestone anniversary, utilize those fact sheets, reach out to the sales manager, let them know you've got a very special person coming their way and to extend all courtesies. All right. Take advantage of the resources that are there for you on the TA portal. Sandbox is something that's really important too, because it's a newly expanded program. This is where you're going to find all those high-res marketing images that you can use. And just an FYI, everything you see on Sandbox and what I talk about next is pre-approved for you to use already. Take advantage of it, use it as your own. But speaking of using content, all right, this can go hand in hand with Sandbox. But if I said that most important part in the beginning was the don't overthink it and quote us every time, I think this is 1A and 1B most important. All right. I told you my goal was to leave you with, applicable items that you could use today to increase your business. This is one of those things. If you have not added Joe Vanderhoff, our manager of training development at Unique Vacations, on all social media platforms, I encourage you to do so immediately. The second you hop off this training, add Joe on Facebook, Instagram, all the things, because what he does is he has a link tree on his profile to Photo Circle. Now that Photo Circle is going to contain a Photo Circle album of every single resort, but not just our resorts, but of dive, golf, water sports, land sports, everything. So no matter what, you have got content for our resorts. So what does that mean for you? I'll give you an example. I love my examples. Anytime a client in the past or a TA in the past has said, I can't sell sandals and beaches because I haven't been to the resort, or I can't do anything on social media because I haven't been to the resort, I don't have the content to create. We have eliminated all of those obstacles and objections for you. No matter what, whether you've been there or not, you have got content to use for every single resort. And you also now have social media rule 101, consistency. You've got consistent content to post throughout the year. So how do you take advantage of this? Utilize the photo circles. Maybe take a step outside of your box. Plot out a social media calendar for maybe the next 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, up to you. But plot that out and utilize this stuff as your own. You can be consistent on Facebook and have high quality content thanks to what Joe Vanderhoff is putting out. Please take advantage of his content. But just want to make sure I expand on the Sandals Elite Advisor program. and really how to utilize and capitalize on your earning potential. Now, anytime you make a Sandals or Beaches booking, you can obviously book many different ways, whether that's through a tour operator or directly through Unique Vacations. As a representative of UVI, I'm going to talk about the latter. Anytime you book with us directly, on top of your base commission, you will automatically earn 1%, 2%, or 3% bonus commission, plus up to $85 bonus cash. Keep your eye out for certain promotions. Oftentimes that $85 is bumped up to $100 or $200. Take advantage of the direct booking opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, I love the Car Wrap program because it is literally an opportunity for you to promote yourself via this driving billboard. It has your call to action, your agency name, phone number, everything. It does me no good to drive around in my Sandals car and have somebody call 1-800-SANDALS. I need them reaching out to you and booking through you. And this is one of the best ways to do that. If you wrap your vehicle, I'm sorry, Nichelle, yes.
Did it raise my hand or something?
Oh, no, I saw your box flash, so I thought you had a question.
No, sir.
Never mind. If you utilize the Car Wrap program, be strategic. Don't just park it, in a busy parking lot or drive it to and from work. Be strategic to your area and community. Find out what local events are going on, whether it's farmers markets, food truck, parades. I always use the example of the Springfield Pet Fest. It's only $100 for a vendor booth. And guess what? Nobody there came to talk about vacations, but everybody there likes talking about vacations. You will be the only travel advisor represented there. You have your car parked out there. You're representing your brand, Sandals and Beaches, and you will be the only travel advisor there. Take advantage, be strategic, but be creative with your Car Wrap. Digital marketing has really expanded throughout the years. And, when I started as a BDM in 2017 to now, things are totally different with what I've seen advisors do through the power of digital marketing, social media, you name it. This is almost a totally separate workshop that we can do. So whether Nichelle or we need to get together maybe some other time and just talk about some specific digital marketing strategies, more than happy to do that. Love to do that. I think this is truly one of the fastest ways to grow your business. This 777 deals really go in tandem with social media and how to stay proactive on social media. Every single week on Wednesday, so today's Wednesday? Perfect. Happy 777 day. For 7 days, 7%, 7 room categories are going to be discounted. All right. This does a couple of things for you and your clients. This gives you an opportunity to post consistently on social media. We even take it a step further and provide you with sample quotes that we've created on Canva. So you use those as your own. But also, when you're distributing this to clients, you can let them know, hey, we spoke last week, and perfect example, that butler room that you really loved that I quoted for you was slightly out of the budget. Guess what? It's on sale this week, 7% off. Now it's within budget, and we've created a sense of urgency because it's only going to be available for the next 7 days. Take advantage of the 777 offers. Also, on top of that, obviously everybody has my contact information, and not sure where everybody is located throughout the country, but if you are spread out, just make sure you're taking advantage of your local BDM as well. Not only do you have me as a resource for the agency, but I think it's so important that you have a relationship with the person in your backyard. I want you to be able to pick up the phone, call your local BDM and say, I need to meet at Starbucks to put together a marketing plan. Or maybe you just need to grab a handful of collateral for an upcoming event. Or maybe you're going to do that Springfield Pet Fest and you need some collateral to put in the back of your car. Either way, I think it's so important that you have that resource on multiple different levels so you can be as productive as possible. Now, with that being said, I know we went over a ton of stuff today. I started with Made of Caribbean. I always like to end with Made of Caribbean. Hopefully, through our conversation today and through our different segments, I was able to accurately articulate what Made of Caribbean is all about. And now you can use some of that language, content, and verbiage with your clients to get them excited about the Caribbean. So thank you so much. I know that was a lot of information in a short period of time. But if anybody has any questions, I want to